whispering, wishing well. In a forgotten corner of Lily's backyard, hidden behind a tangle of ivy and sleepy sunflowers, was a secret garden. And in the very center of this garden sat a small, stone wishing well covered in soft green moss. Lily tiptoed closer and peered into the darkness. A soft, watery voice whispered up to her, "Your wish is my command, but wish with your heart, not just your hands." Lily gasped with delight. "I wish," she whispered back, "for a tiny, sparkling hummingbird to come and say hello." Instantly, a jewel-bright hummingbird appeared, zipping and zooming around her head before giving a little chirp and flying away. Lily's heart thumped with excitement. If it can do that, she thought, it can do anything. She leaned over the well and shouted, "I wish for a mountain of the most delicious cookies in the world." A giant mound of cookies erupted from the ground, smelling wonderfully of chocolate and cinnamon. "More, more," cried Lily, getting carried away. "I wish for a river of chocolate milk to flow through the garden." The well sighed, and a brown, milky river began to bubble up, washing away the pretty flowers. Lily ate cookies until her tummy hurt, and drank so much chocolate milk she felt quite sick. The beautiful garden was now a sticky, crumb-covered mess. It didn't feel magical anymore, just messy. "This isn't fun," she pouted. "I need more wishes." She stomped back to the well. "I wish for 100 new toys right now." Poof! A giant pile of toys appeared, so big and tall that it cast a shadow over the entire garden. But with so many toys, she didn't know what to play with first. The cookies were stale, and the chocolate river was attracting flies. Lily looked at the wonderful things all around her and felt a big, empty feeling inside. None of it had made her happy. With a tear rolling down her cheek, she crept back to the well. "I'm sorry," she whispered into the cool darkness. "I was greedy. I don't want any of this. I just wish my beautiful, quiet garden was back." The well's voice was gentle once more. "A wish from the heart is the truest wish of all." A soft, shimmery light spread through the garden. The cookies, the river, and the toys all vanished as if they had never been there. Lily never made a greedy wish again. She found her happiness not in mountains of things, but in the simple magic of her secret garden, the warmth of the sun, the buzz of the bees, and the friendly little hummingbird who would often stop by to say hello. Understood Witch of Sunyshire. In a rickety-rackety castle atop a gloomy gray mountain lived a witch named Griselda. From her window, she could see the cheerful, colorful kingdom of Sunyshire. "They all hate me down there," she'd grumble to her bat, Bartholomew. "They run and scream whenever they see me." It was Griselda's birthday, and she was sure no one had remembered. "If they won't give me presents, I'll give them one of my own," she cackled. She decided on her most wicked spell, to turn every bright, beautiful flower in Sunyshire a dull, miserable gray. With a whoosh, Griselda zoomed into the night sky on her broomstick, Bartholomew clinging tightly to her hat. Below, the whole kingdom of Sunyshire was gathered in the town square. "Perfect," she sneered. "They're all in one place to see my magnificent misery." But as she swooped lower, she didn't hear screams of terror. She heard singing. It was a cheerful, if slightly out-of-tune song. "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Griselda," they sang. Griselda landed her broomstick with a clumsy thump right in the middle of the square. Everyone stopped singing and stared. A cheerful, round man with a big mustache, the mayor, stepped forward holding a lopsided cake. "Griselda," the mayor boomed happily. "We were hoping you'd come. We love your spooky castle and your funny cackle." A little girl added, "We always run because we're playing spooky tag. We thought you were it." Griselda was speechless. She looked at the townspeople. They weren't holding pitchforks. They were holding presents. One person held a lumpy turnip. Another had a jar of what looked like pickled slugs. And the little girl held a bouquet of thorny, dark red roses. A strange feeling bubbled up inside Griselda, like warm sunshine melting a grumpy icicle. Her heart which usually felt like a cold, hard stone, suddenly felt warm and fuzzy. She forgot all about her wicked spell, and the pouch of gray powder slipped from her pocket, disappearing with a harmless poof. "Oh," said Griselda. "Well, a birthday needs a bit of magic." Instead of a wicked spell, she wiggled her fingers. The town's lanterns began to glow with sparkling, rainbow-colored lights, and invisible instruments started to play a bouncy, happy tune. From that day on, Griselda was no longer the Wicked Witch, but Sunnyshire's wonderfully weird witch. She still lived in her rickety-rackety castle, but now she came down to the village for tea and to be it in the best games of spooky tag the kingdom had ever seen. Luna and the Golden Firefly. Luna loved the twinkly, blinky fireflies that danced in her garden at dusk. One evening, a particularly sparkly firefly with a bright, golden glow winked at her and zipped away. "Wait for me," she giggled, chasing after it. The firefly led her on a merry chase, past the whispering willow tree and over the babbling brook. Luna was so busy watching its beautiful light that she didn't notice how far she had gone. When the firefly finally blinked out, Luna looked around. She didn't recognize the tall, shadowy trees. She was lost. A little tear trickled down Luna's cheek. Just then, she heard a tiny squeak. A small, brown field mouse was tangled in some thorny vines. "Oh, you poor thing," Luna whispered. Carefully, Luna untangled the mouse's little paws from the thorns. "Squeak, squeak! Thank you," chirped the mouse. "You look lost. Follow me. I know a shortcut." The mouse scurried ahead, its tiny tail twitching. The mouse led Luna to a grumpy-looking badger who was trying to get a juicy red apple that was stuck in a log. "It's stuck," grumbled the badger, pulling and tugging. "Maybe I can help," said Luna. She found a long, sturdy stick. Together, she and the badger pushed and wiggled the apple until it popped free. HMPH. "Well, thank you," said the badger, much less grumpily. "You're trying to get home? The old owl knows everything. I'll show you his tree." The badger led her to the tallest oak tree in the forest. High on a branch sat a wise old owl with big, round glasses. Who is it?" he hooted. Luna explained how she had followed the firefly and couldn't find her way back. "Ah," hooted the owl, "kindness is a light that always shows the way home, but my glasses are smudged and I can't see the path clearly." Luna took the soft corner of her dress and carefully polished the owl's glasses until they sparkled. "Hooray!" the owl cheered. "I can see perfectly now. Your home is just past the singing sunflowers, my dear." He pointed a wing towards a glowing path she hadn't seen before. Your kind heart lit the way. Luna followed the path and soon saw the familiar lights of her own garden. She ran home, her heart full of warmth. She had learned that even when you're lost, a little bit of kindness can light up the darkest path and always lead you home. The Wishes of Elias. In the heart of a cheerful, bustling village lived a man named Elias. He wasn't a king or a knight, but his heart was full of a special kind of treasure, kindness. He spent his days mending fences, carrying groceries, and sharing stories that made everyone smile. One sunny morning, while walking through the whispering woods, Elias heard a tiny, troubled flutter. Caught in a thorny bramble was a magnificent bird, its feathers shimmering with all the colors of a rainbow. With patient hands, Elias untangled the last thorn. The bird, instead of flying away, landed softly on his shoulder. "You have a kind heart," it chirped in a voice like tiny bells. "For your goodness, I grant you 3 wishes. Use them well." Elias thought not of himself, but of his village. The old well had been dry for months. "For my first wish," he said clearly, "I wish for our village well to be filled with fresh, cool water for everyone to share." A moment later, a sound of joyful shouting echoed from the village. Elias hurried back to find the stone well overflowing with sparkling, clear water. His neighbors were laughing and dancing, filling their buckets with glee. For his second wish, Elias thought of the farmer whose fields were dry and dusty. "I wish for a gentle rain to fall on the farmer's fields, to help his crops grow tall and strong," he declared. As if by magic, soft, fluffy clouds gathered overhead, and a gentle rain began to fall. The farmer tipped his hat to Elias, his face beaming with gratitude as the thirsty ground drank up the welcome water. The magical bird appeared before Elias once more. "You have one wish left," it sang. "Will you ask for a castle of gold or a chest of jewels?" Elias looked at the happy villagers and the greening fields and smiled. "I have all the treasure I could ever want," Elias said warmly. "For my last wish, I wish for you, my colorful friend, to always be safe on your journeys and for your heart to be as full of happiness as you've made ours." The bird sang its most beautiful song. It circled Elias's head, showering him in harmless, glittering sparks that felt like warmth and laughter. Though Elias never saw the bird again, his village prospered, and his heart remained the kindest, and therefore the richest in all the land. Flicker's quiet light. In a meadow humming with the evening's song lived a tiny firefly named Flicker. While the other fireflies painted the dark with bold, bright streaks, Flicker's glow was a soft, gentle pulse. "A quiet light can still be brave," his Grandma Luna would whisper, her own light warm and steady. The most dazzling firefly in the meadow was Blaze. He'd zoom past Flicker, leaving a brilliant trail. "Having trouble, Flicker?" Blaze would boast. "You can't light up the world with a whisper of a glow?" The other fireflies would laugh, and Flicker would dim his light in shame. One night, a strange, silvery fog crept into the meadow. It was a magical fog that loved bright lights, and it greedily swallowed them up. Blaze's brilliant glow was the first to vanish, leaving him blinking in the sudden, thick whiteness. Panic zipped through the air. "I'm lost," cried a firefly. "Which way is home?" buzzed another. Their bright, beautiful lights were useless, creating blurry, confusing smudges in the disorienting fog. Tucked beneath a fern, Flicker trembled. He let out a tiny, worried pulse of light. But a wondrous thing happened. His soft glow wasn't swallowed by the fog. Instead, it sliced through the mist like a tiny, sharp star, creating a clear, narrow path. He took a deep breath and pulsed again. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Each time his quiet light pushed the fog away. He remembered Grandma Luna's words and felt a tiny spark of courage ignite within him. "Follow me," Flicker called out, his voice stronger than he expected. He flew into the fog, his light a steady beacon. Blaze hovered nearby, his own light sputtering. "You?" he started to say, but he fell silent as he watched Flicker's beam cut cleanly through the gloom. One by one, the lost fireflies turned and followed the small, pulsing light. Flicker led them carefully, his beam showing them the way past the tangled roots of the old oak tree and over the sleeping petals of the night-blooming flowers. At last, through the mist, they saw the welcoming branches of their home, the great willow tree. A relieved cheer went up. They gathered around Flicker, their lights shining on him with respect. "Your quiet light was the bravest of all," Blaze said softly. Flicker had never felt so bright. He learned that the strength of a light isn't in its size, but in its purpose. And from that night on, his soft, steady pulse was celebrated as the little light that could always find its way home. The Stone Soup Prince. In the bustling heart of a grand kingdom, there lived a young man named Leo. He had no riches to his name, only a worn-out coat, a clever mind, and a heart brimming with kindness. Every day, he would sit in the market square, sharing stories with the children and mending broken toys for free. From her high castle window, Princess Anya would watch the market. She was tired of the fawning lords and their extravagant gifts. She saw Leo's simple acts of kindness, and they shone brighter to her than any jewel. One day, the king announced a challenge. Whoever could present the most wonderful gift to the princess would win her hand in marriage. Princes and dukes arrived with chests of gold, rare silks, and exotic animals. Leo had nothing to offer but an old, smooth stone from his pocket. When it was his turn, Leo approached the throne. "I have no gold," he said, holding up the stone. "But with this, I can make a soup fit for a queen." The court erupted in laughter, but Anya, intrigued, leaned forward. "Show us," she commanded. In the royal kitchen, Leo filled a large pot with water and dropped in the stone. "Of course, stone soup is always better with a few carrots," he said thoughtfully. A curious kitchen maid, amused by his confidence, offered him a bunch. "And a potato or two would truly enrich the flavor," he mused aloud. The royal cook, drawn in by the game, brought him a basket of potatoes. Soon, others joined in, adding onions, herbs, and bits of meat, all eager to be part of the magical stone soup. The aroma filled the castle, drawing everyone from the king to the lowest servant. Leo ladled the rich, hearty soup into bowls for everyone, making sure each person had a warm meal. It was the most delicious soup anyone had ever tasted. Princess Anya watched as Leo shared the soup, his face lit with joy. She saw how he had brought the whole castle together, not with riches, but with a simple stone and a clever idea. He had created a feast from nothing but generosity and community. "You have given me the greatest gift of all," Anya said, her voice clear and strong. "You have shown me the power of kindness and the joy of sharing." The king, seeing the wisdom in her words and the happiness in her eyes, had to agree. And so, the poor man with the kind heart married the wise princess. Leo became the heir to the throne, and he ruled with the same generosity and cleverness he had shown in the market square, proving that the greatest treasures are not made of gold, but of love and kindness. And so, the poor man with the kind heart married the wise princess. Leo became the heir to the throne, and he ruled with the same generosity and cleverness he had shown in the market square, proving that the greatest treasures are not made of gold, but of love and kindness. The Girl Who Painted a Cloud. In a town where the houses were painted like jelly beans, lived a little girl named Lyra. Lyra loved colors more than anything, and she spent her days painting big, bright, wonderful pictures for everyone to see. One sunny afternoon, while Lyra was painting a swirly, curly sun, a big, gray cloud drifted over her house. It wasn't a normal, fluffy cloud. This one was lumpy and grumpy, and blocked out all the light with a gloomy sigh. "Excuse me, Mr. Grumpy Cloud," Lyra called out. "You're in my sunshine." The cloud just grumbled, a low rumble that sounded like a tummy ache. He didn't move an inch. Lyra tapped her chin. If the cloud wouldn't leave, maybe she could cheer him up. She grabbed her bucket of the sunniest, happiest yellow paint. "If you're going to be a blob," she declared, "you're going to be a bright blob." With a mighty heave, she flung the yellow paint high into the air. Splat! It landed right on the cloud's belly, creating a big, sunny yellow spot that jiggled like pudding. The cloud, whose name was Nimbus, wiggled. The yellow spot tickled. A tiny chuckle escaped him, which sounded like popping bubbles. Lyra giggled and dipped her brush in flamingo pink. Splat! A splash of pink landed on his cheek. SPLOOSH. A dash of bright blue landed on his head like a funny hat. Nimbus started to laugh, a big, booming laugh that shook the sky and made the birds sing. As Nimbus laughed, something magical happened. Tiny, colorful raindrops started to fall from him. They weren't wet. They were warm and sparkly, like liquid rainbows falling from the sky. Lyra danced below, catching the sparkly drops on her tongue. Everywhere a raindrop landed, a tiny, bright flower with a silly, smiling face popped up from the ground. The whole garden began to bloom in impossible colors. From that day on, Nimbus wasn't a grumpy cloud anymore. He was Lyra's friend, the rainbow rain cloud. Together, they floated over the town, painting the world with color and laughter, making it the most cheerful place in the whole wide world. Song of Courage. In the cheerful kingdom of Sonoria, brave Princess Aria lived with her father, the king. Though they missed Aria's mother dearly, their days were filled with laughter. But everything changed when the king married a beautiful woman named Morwen, whose smile never quite reached her cold, calculating eyes. Queen Morwen was secretly a wicked witch. One evening, she gave the king a cup of spiced tea, hiding a drop of sleeping poison within. The king fell into a deep, unending slumber, and a gray gloom fell over the once joyful kingdom. With the king asleep, Queen Morwen seized the throne. "This kingdom is mine," she cackled. Her first command was to lock Princess Aria away in the highest room of the tallest tower, far from anyone who could help her. The wicked queen even tried to trick Aria. "A gift for you, my dear," Morwen hissed, offering a shiny red apple through the tower's food slot. But Aria saw the faint dark magic swirling around it and refused to take a single bite. Alone and heartbroken, Aria began to cry. Her tears shimmered and glowed, and from their light, a gentle fairy godmother named Lumina appeared. "Do not despair, dear child," she whispered kindly. "The queen has a secret weakness," Lumina explained. "Her wicked magic is powerful, but it cannot survive in the presence of pure, joyful music. Your voice, Aria, holds the key." Filled with courage, Aria stood at her tower window. She took a deep breath and began to sing. It wasn't a sad song, but a song of sunny days, happy memories, and the love she had for her father and her kingdom. Her beautiful melody floated down from the tower and spread through the land. As the joyful notes reached the castle, Queen Morwen shrieked. The music was like sunlight to a shadow, and her dark magic began to crack and unravel. With a final, furious scream, Queen Morwen dissolved into a puff of gray smoke, her wickedness gone forever. At that very moment, in his royal chambers, the king's eyes fluttered open. The spell was broken. The king, fully recovered, rushed to embrace his brave daughter. He placed his own crown upon her head, declaring, "Aria, your courage and kindness have saved us all. You are the true Queen of Sonoria." The kingdom rejoiced, proving that evil can never defeat courage, kindness, and truth. The sisters and the shimmering feather. In a cottage painted with sunshine and laughter lived two sisters, Ilara and Lyra. Ilara had a heart as warm as a summer's day, while Lyra's was as chilly as a winter's night. One morning, a tiny, shivering bird with a broken wing fell from its nest. Ilara gently scooped it up, her hands a soft cradle. "Don't you worry, little one," she whispered. "I'll take care of you." Lyra scoffed from the doorway. "It's just a silly bird," she grumbled, crossing her arms. "Why waste your time?" But Ilara didn't listen. She built a tiny nest of cotton and sang sweet lullabies to her new friend. Days turned into a week, and the little bird's wing healed. One sunny afternoon, with a grateful chirp, it flew from Ilara's hand and soared into the sky. As it did, a single, shimmering feather drifted down. When the feather touched Ilara's hand, it transformed into a beautiful, sparkling key. It was a key that could unlock any door, but more importantly, it could unlock the kindness in any heart. Lyra, seeing the magical key, grew green with envy. "I want a magic key too," she declared. So she stomped into the woods, determined to find a creature to help. She soon found a grumpy badger with a thorn in its paw. "Help me," the badger grumbled, "and I will reward you." Lyra, seeing her chance, yanked the thorn out with a rough tug. The badger, wincing, flicked its tail. A shower of mud and leaves rained down on Lyra, covering her from head to toe. "There's your reward," the badger huffed, and disappeared into its burrow. Soaked and smelly, Lyra returned home to find Ilara using her key to open a locked chest filled with delicious, sparkling candies. Ilara smiled and offered her one. Lyra, for the first time, felt a tiny warmth in her chilly heart. She took the candy, and as she did, she realized that true rewards don't come from selfish deeds, but from the simple magic of kindness. The Wicked Witch and the Fairy's Light. In the cheerful city of Lunara, laughter bounced off the rainbow-colored rooftops, and the air smelled of candy floss and sunshine. Everyone was friends, and every day was filled with joy and games. But high above the city, in a crooked black tower, lived Glumara, a wicked witch. She despised happiness, hated laughter, and couldn't stand the sight of bright colors. "It's all too cheerful," she would grumble to her cauldron. One day, Glumara had had enough. "They will all be as miserable as me," she shrieked. She climbed to her highest balcony and cast a terrible spell, sending a thick, sludgy fog of gloom rolling down the hill and into the heart of Lunara. The moment the fog touched the city, all the colors faded to gray. Laughter turned to sighs, and the sweet air grew stale and sad. The people of Lunara forgot how to smile. They just shuffled along, looking at their feet. Just when all hope seemed lost, a tiny, warm light appeared in the gray streets. It was Seraphina, a kind fairy whose wings shimmered with all the colors of a sunrise. Her heart ached to see the sad city. "This will not do," she whispered. Seraphina flew down to the sad little child. "Kindness is a light that no gloom can extinguish," she whispered. "Even the smallest spark can start a fire." She nudged his hand, which held a small, forgotten cupcake. The child shared his cupcake with the cat, and a tiny bit of color returned to his cheeks. He then saw the baker, sitting sadly by his cold oven. The child helped the baker gather wood, and soon a warm fire was crackling, bringing a cheerful orange glow back to the bakery. Seeing this, other townspeople started helping each other. They shared scarves, told jokes, and sang songs. With every single act of kindness, the gray fog was pushed back, and the brilliant, happy colors of Lunara burst forth, brighter and more beautiful than ever before. From her tower, Glumara watched in a rage. The light of their kindness was destroying her spell. She gathered all her power for one final, gloomy blast, but the goodness from the city was too strong. Her dark magic, with nowhere to go, recoiled and trapped her in a permanent bubble of her own misery. Lunara was saved. The city was more vibrant than ever, because the people now knew the most powerful magic of all. It wasn't spells or potions, but the simple, warm light of kindness, a light that would keep their city bright and happy forever. Leo's Mango Tree. In a sunny garden, a little boy named Leo and his grandpa planted a tiny seed. "This will be our mango tree," said Grandpa, his eyes twinkling. "We must be patient with it." Leo watered the seed every single day. Soon, a little green sprout poked its head out of the earth. "Hello, little tree," Leo would whisper to it each morning. The sprout grew into a small tree with shiny green leaves, but there were no mangoes. "Where are the mangoes, Grandpa?" Leo asked, looking at the empty branches. Grandpa sat with Leo by the little tree. "A tree must first grow strong and tall," he explained kindly. "It needs to stretch its roots deep and its branches high before it can give us sweet fruit." As the seasons changed, the mango tree grew. It grew taller than Leo, and then taller than the garden fence. Its trunk grew thick and strong, and its leaves made a whispery sound in the wind. One sunny morning, Leo noticed something new. The tree was covered in clusters of tiny, sweet-smelling flowers. Bees buzzed happily from blossom to blossom. After the flowers fell, tiny green bumps appeared in their place. "Look, Grandpa," Leo shouted with glee. "The mangoes are coming." The tiny green bumps grew bigger and bigger. The sun shone on them, and they slowly turned from green to a beautiful blushing orange-yellow. The air smelled sweet and fruity. At last, it was time. "The tree is ready to share its gift," said Grandpa. Together, they carefully picked the ripe, juicy mangoes, filling a big basket to the brim. On a hot afternoon, Leo and his grandpa sat in the cool, wide shade of the big mango tree. They shared the sweet, sticky fruit, its juice dripping down their chins, happy that they had been patient. The Gardener of Hearts. In a town painted with sunshine lived a woman named Serafina. Her heart was a garden, and she spent her days tending to the dreams of others. She gave her water, her sun, and her soil to her loved ones, hoping to see them bloom. But a chill crept into the garden. The ones she nurtured began to whisper in the shadows. They took the fruits of her labor and built walls with the stones she had cleared from their paths, leaving her outside and alone. Their unkind words were like thorns, and their lies became a heavy, gray cloak that dimmed her inner light. Day and night she felt the weight of their betrayal, a storm cloud that followed only her. One night, as she slept under the heavy cloak of sorrow, a dream bloomed in the darkness. A gentle, golden light filled her mind, warmer than any sun she had ever known. A voice, like the chiming of 1,000 tiny bells, spoke from the light. "Fear not, my child," it said. "You are an angel sent to teach love. Your work is done. It is time to come home and rest. Those who harmed you will face their own storm." Serafina awoke with a heart full of peace. The heavy cloak was gone. She called her children, Asher and Elara, to her side. "I am going on a long journey," she said, her voice calm and clear. "Always remember to be kind." She smiled at her son, Asher, and touched his cheek. "You are strong and good. Look after your sister." With a final, loving look at them both, she closed her eyes and drifted away like a feather on the wind. The moment she left, the sky broke open. A great storm raged, washing the world clean. Her betrayers hid in their homes, but her children stood tall, giving their mother a beautiful farewell, planting a new garden on her final resting place. In time, the lives of the betrayers withered like unwatered plants. Their homes crumbled, and their gardens turned to dust. But Asher and Elara flourished, their lives blessed with sunshine and laughter, their mother's love a shield around them. And high above, in a garden among the stars, Serafina sat at a table with angels. She looked down and saw that justice had been done. Her heart was light, and she was finally home, surrounded by the love she had always deserved.